Do you live in a world filled with corporate data? Are you plagued by siloed departments? Are your lackluster growth strategies demolishing your chances for success? Are you held captive by the evil menace, Lord Lack? Lack of time, lack of strategy, and lack of the most important and powerful tool in your superhero tool belt, knowledge. Never fear, HubHeroes. Get ready to don your cape and mask, move into action, and become the Hub Hero your organization needs. Tune in each week to join the League of Extraordinary Inbound Heroes as we help you educate, empower, and execute. Hub Heroes, it's time to unite and activate your powers. Before we begin, we need to disclose that Devin is currently employed by HubSpot at the time of this episode's recording. This podcast is in no way affiliated with or produced by HubSpot, and the thoughts and opinions expressed by Devin during the show are that of his own and in no way represent those of his employer.
Welcome back to the HubHeroes podcast. George, Max, Devin,
Hi.
Quick question before we get started. Hi, yes. Max, I see you hiding in your hoodie. It's not going to save you, but so gentlemen, I'll be the first week's episode. However, are you all unwell? Happened. I disappeared week, and anyone? Do we want to have some accountability time?
I'll just throw out the unique
post-mortem?
he did it. Not point he did it.
I don't even remember what we did last
Devin?
week.
Or
Devin?
Time is a construct, man, which you're referring. But I will say I have Amazon for a new cable
There
for my
we
microphone.
go.
So, yeah, that
was the most adult version I've ever heard of what lamp? Well, good news, kittens.
Yes.
I'm back.
We're
Welcome
good.
to the Hub Heroes podcast. My name is Liz. Apparently, I'm the sane one of the group, but I'm also a content strategist and a Hub Hero wrangler. I'm joined as always by George, Max, and Devin.
Woo-hoo.
Gentlemen, I am so excited about today's episode that I'm just going to dig right into it with, I'm pretty sure, historically speaking, is the longest title, George, you and I have ever developed. And let's do it. Bombdiggity.com, a hashtag inbound 23 strategic success framework for individuals and teams. Yes, that is the title. We are sticking to it. George, do you have any thoughts on the
I just give zero craps about SEO for this episode. To be honest with you, it is going to be enough just to throw out there about inbound and the fact that we're going to have a success framework. Nope.
Not a survival guide. Well,
because everybody has a survival guide, and they're not going to the wilderness. They're going to Boston. And what they need to do is be successful in their education to grow their business. That's why. So anyway, don't care about SEO today.
We have trees out here, okay?
Well,
we
here's
have
the
trees.
thing. As far as SEO is concerned, I think that this episode and the content therein is going to be so impactful that we're going to be first page for Bomb Diggity.
Oh, there we go.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mostbombdiggity.com. You heard it first. We did it. Now I've got to be fair though. And before we dig into this, I have to acknowledge that I could have some people are like going, wait a minute, guys, kittens, it's May. Inbound isn't until September. What are we doing talking about this? So you haven't time traveled. You are absolutely correct. It is May and inbound is in September, but we're about to tell you why we are having the first of a handful of conversations on this podcast about this event, because right now, thousands of HubSpotters around the world, that's including all of us here on this podcast, those of you listening right now, every HubSpotter, every HubSpot agency, we have been sitting here watching our inbox day after day, week after week, pile up with exciting announcements about the upcoming event in September in Boston. For example, just a few days ago, HubSpot shared a lot of main stage speakers who are pretty exciting. We've got Reese Witherspoon, Derek Jeter, and Morgan Debaun. And as a result, though, I don't know if any of y'all are getting like lots of questions from friends like, how do I actually get somebody to, like my boss, I would love for them to send me to inbound. Is inbound worth it if I'm an agency owner to really send my employees or just as a business? I don't want to just survive inbound. How do I actually most of it, George? Like that was the point
I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. That's what we got. I just don't. Yes. No.
Really
no. We gotta go there. We gotta go there, Liz. Don't just survive, but thrive through inbound. And by the way, I want to throw this in there, and then I'll be quiet. You can continue on. For me, May. Okay, that's cool. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. We're trying to help you out, people. That's all we're doing here.
You do know, though, that saying not surviving, but thriving at inbound is like the inbound equivalent of the live, laugh, love. Right? Like, that's what you are right now. You're like an inbound marketing home goods. Right?
George is feeling rather basic.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
That's what the B stands for. George Basic Thomas.
Yep. So I
didn't say that. Now, to be clear, I didn't choose violence. Max did.
Hang on, I gotta go out and get my tissue box before I start crying here.
While you're doing that, my other two favorite questions we've been getting recently are which donkeys should I go to? That's very critical, very important. And also, one of my favorite things that I've heard you say, George, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard this question from other people. The other people is me. I am this person. Is it true when they say the magic happens in the hallways at inbound? And what does that even mean? So that is why we are here, ladies and gentlemen, guinea pigs, whomever you are. We are here in May on the mic telling you to throw out all of the inbound survival guides you've seen in the past as we look to September. And instead, again, let us talk about the most bombdiggity.com inbound 23 success framework. Oh, dear Lord. Success framework for individuals and teams, so you could start plotting your
gotta
take
take
over
a
the world
large
right
breath.
now. Are we?
Like, you got to inhale a lot before you're gonna attack that title. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I know. I'm working on. It's still happening, but let's dig in. All right. Also, do we want to take any bets by how many times George is going to over under 20?
Accepted. Zero.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll take those odds.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Right. So tell me about what kind of magic happens in the hallways, George. What kind of magic? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. First, let's talk about the two most common questions I know we hear a lot about inbound. And what's funny is that they're two different questions, but they're two sides of the same coin, right? How do I get my boss to send me to inbound? Or is it even worth sending my people to inbound? George, I see you nodding, and I don't want to start the episode with you complaining.
So first of all, y'all already beat me down. There's no complaining here for the rest of the episode. I'm just trying to survive and make it out alive, to be honest with you. Okay. But here's the thing. Oh. The fact that this question even gets asked sometimes just blows my mind, because the amount of things that you can do, attend, talk about, build a foundation from that happen at inbound is crazy to me. And here's where I think that sometimes it goes off the rails. And Liz, you even started with these grandiose people are gonna be on the main stage, and that's what people focus on and go, well, what's the value of that? Excuse me, but the value is in all the workshops and the breakout sessions and again, we will talk at some point about the magic moments in the hallway, because it's a true fact. Anyway, if you just focus on that, and if you, as a team, start to think about a framework of what you want to learn and why you want to learn it, you'll quickly be able to pair something in those regular breakout and workshop areas that you're like, oh, this is going to be money well spent. Not to mention, and then I'll be quiet, the way that I historically have felt as an employee being sent to inbound makes me feel special, makes me feel like somebody believes in me and wants to invest in my growth, which then dramatically changed the output of who I became. You got to remember, my journey starts with we won tickets, not an investment, I totally get it, to inbound. But every year since then, somebody has invested in me to send me to that, to grow to who I am and who we have become, right, as a Hub Hero community.
And you know what actually it reminds me of? Because I've heard the same thing. Every time I've heard somebody complain, and whether it's an agency employee, agency owner, you know what it reminds me of? HubSpot's inbound is drastically different than it was in 2012 and 2016, right? But I almost feel like we're penalizing our favorite band for going mainstream and becoming successful. So they still have all of the, hundreds of breakout sessions. They're getting much more particular, much more dimensional, much more quality threshold in terms of what those breakouts look like. And they're bringing in big speakers, but that's all they hear, right? Well, what's the what? I'm going to spend a bunch of money to have someone go learn how to do a marketing campaign for Reese Witherspoon. If that is your point of the whole, Devin, Max, Sprocket contingency and former big Sprocket contingency.
Devin, I'm gonna let you go in a second, but there's literally 2 helicopters flying over my house.
Last week it was bees.
Is that Big Sprocket? Is Big Sprocket?
Dude, last week it was bees. Now it's Apache helicopters.
I swear to God, dude, come on. 2 giant Apache helicopters with like missiles and stuff.
Listen, Max, if we get on the podcast next week and you say the Wiggles are outside your window, we're drawing a line. We're buying you a shade. We're closing it. You're not allowed to look outside anymore.
Wait, let me get this straight, George. Hold on. We have to stop the podcast for a second. So let me understand this. Apache helicopter, okay. But we draw the line.
I mean, if I could draw a
bit,
shade right now, I'd draw a shade. But, he's already seen the helicopters. He saw the shiny object. He's now focused on it. We're in trouble.
Devin.
No, it's not totally okay.
Well, the thing is that I know it's not us because he didn't say they were orange Apache helicopters. So
no, they were mine.
Yeah,
they're mine. I'm keeping them all in line. 2 are on the way to you and George too.
They weren't orange.
But the thing is, like, for me, the very first year I went to Inbound in 2016, we got them as a per our contract, right? Which was great. But every job that I've had since then, I've had it included in my employment contract that they inbound every year. And the thing is like Liz hit it right on the head. We talk about, how the big names that'll be there, and they're great. But I can't tell you how much they are not that I'm going to go. Like Reese Witherspoon is a gem. Derek Jeter is a status. But I also don't care. My thing is I'm looking at the...
Max, are you all right, buddy? Do you need a moment?
I'm a Red Sox fan. How do you think I feel about Derek Jeter?
Just fix your gloves like Nomar and move on.
I'm not even going to address it.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Devin.
But the thing is that there are over 200 other speakers that are going to be there. And the people that are going to impact you, your life, and your career the most on the headlines. What you should be doing is looking at some of these talk tracks when they come out, some of the titles. Keep in mind that literally thousands of people apply to Speak Inbound every year. And this year, it's they've selected the best and the brightest options. And if you're going to reasons to go, you can look at just past session titles. You can look at some of the past agendas and seeing the things that you have the opportunity to learn. Reese Witherspoon, Derek Jeter, that's icing on the cake. When we're talking about all the cool stuff that happens on Thursday nights, that's all of that is just the sprinkles on what is an amazing pastry. Inbound is going to make you a better marketer, a better salesman, and a better manager if you go to the breakouts. If you're just there to have fun, or since George can't network, then you're only getting a piece of the pie. You're not seeing what is truly remarkable.
I'll keep it short. And I think it's just like there's no other opportunity that occurs that has this much concentration of HubSpot, Inbound, and anything in between and surrounding this world that we all live in than the Inbound conference, right? So there was really like no better chance to come and kind of learn from other people in the community, right? Not just your HubSpot Academy certifications, but other people who are kind of living in the same roles as you, having similar experiences, but doing it from different angles and learning from their mistakes and on through and what they've learned. There's no better place to do it, especially if you take HubSpot or Inbound or RevOps or anything like that seriously in any capacity, right? So it's worth the trip out here. It's worth the networking that you're going to get. But also just be able to kind of come together with like amazing community by itself. Like it's such a special thing. And I can't wait to finally do it in person after. It's going to be awesome.
And real quick, even if you don't care about HubSpot, even if you're not a HubSpot user, even if you have no intention to get HubSpot, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be one of the most impactful experiences. The sessions that have affected me the most and have helped me grow the most have absolutely...
Yeah, and let me jump in here too, because I want to get very tactical and specific for a second, because one of the questions that led us in here was, how do I get my boss to send me to inbound? I have one word for you: spreadsheet. Now, hear me out. What I want you to do is I want you to get a spreadsheet out, and I want you to list out the actual speakers and topics that you're going to go to. I want you to strategize and plan your trip, because what it comes down to is, what are you going to learn, and how is that going to pay off at the end of the day? What the missing metric is the ROI. What is your boss's return on investment in you to go to Boston, to inbound, the hotels, the travel, the whatever? And if you can show, look, I'm going to get XYZ better at what I already do. I'm going to learn 30% of what we actually need to move into if we're going to stay like top of mind and in the like upper echelon of our industry. And I'm even going to do 10% that forces me out of our comfort zone, because who knows, in 10 years or 2 years or 2 months, we might need to know about NFTs, or maybe not. But we're going to spend 10% of the time to actually educate ourselves on that. Again, spreadsheet, strategy, plan, and come from the mindset of your boss. You need to prove the ROI of the time spent doing the things that you're mapping out.
Question for you before we move on. Does it hurt your soul that you have humans yet?
Could use one. We could use one right now.
Could use a good juicy one right now.
I mean,
Right
if
now.
I say
Humans.
then I'm gonna want to say that humans need to
network when they're at inbound.
Oh,
I'm just saying. Yeah.
That was so
that's
good.
great.
I do what I
So
can.
good. I loved it. Really big fan. Related to this conversation, guys, what do you think most people misunderstand about the inbound experience? I want to actually dial that question deeper with the real ROI. Because that's what you talked about there, George, right there?
Yeah, let me jump in real quick. The thing that people miss about the inbound experience is they think it's all about learning and working with HubSpot. And in HubSpot, HubSpot users will benefit immensely from going to inbound, but there are things, tips, tricks, stories, in opportunities that, and I can't stress this enough, have nothing to do with HubSpot. And if you go into it thinking, oh, that's that HubSpot conference, right? You're completely missing the point. There is so much that is going to make you a more well-rounded professional coming out of it. Like I don't go to any of the I can count on one hand how many HubSpot-centric breakouts that I've been to going to inbound, because there's so much more about learning the why behind what it is that makes you a professional, and the why behind, learning analytics or optimizing your conversion path. You can do these with any tools. It's learning these foundational things that make you a good marketer, a good sales professional, a good manager, a good operations person, that have absolutely nothing to do with HubSpot. Can you go there and see HubSpot in action? Can you learn HubSpot? Can you talk? Of course. But it's not just about HubSpot. That's why it's called inbound, because it's not we're going to HubSpot.com.
Max is thinking. I'm trying to give Max room here.
So I'm buffering. I think because I'm trying to. I don't know if I kind of said this already, but like it's such an amazing chance and to go stand like shoulder to shoulder with people who are either dealing with the same exact problems you're dealing with in your business, or people that have dealt with the same exact problems and found creative ways to solve them, right? And so like when you talk about like that networking piece, if you're going to inbound, chances are you're dealing with a lot of the similar situations that other people have that are going there. And it's a great way to see different perspectives and get new ideas on how to solve those problems, right? Regardless of if you're using HubSpot or not, right? We're all pretty much there because we're in business in some way, shape, or form, right? And a lot of those problems that we have are kind of shared across. They just take on different shades.
Wait, does that mean I can stand up like in the middle of Club Inbound with a bullhorn and be like, blogs, am I right, guys? And everybody's just like, yeah.
And then security pulls you out of there and takes you out.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend that, but it technically is possible.
Okay, let's not shame the host.
Oh, no.
The host can get fussy and make poetry. We're going to continue. We're going to move on.
One thing about Max's point that I want to point out is not just about hearing other people's problems and standing shoulder to shoulder with people who are either going through or may have experienced it, but one thing that you're going to notice is validation. You're going to get so much validation on the stuff that you deal with on a day-to-day that you think is unique to your company that literally almost everyone else is dealing with. Like, oh, the sales team, am I right? And it's going to be like they're trying to solve the exact same problems that you are. And it's going to happen time and time again to a point where these are going to be like your new digital drinking buddies because you have...
All right, listen.
It's LinkedIn in real life.
No. It's canceled. Okay, listen. I gotta get this out. Yeah, security. Somebody,
For me,
please.
it is, at least.
Somebody come get him. Take him away. But here, listen. Here's the real deal, Holyfield. Okay, you guys have been dancing around it the entire time. I've heard each and every one of you say it, and that is, it's an experience. Now, I want you to think about that. When you have your 18th birthday or your 21st birthday or your 50th birthday, it's an experience. You go on to Niagara Falls, right? And you're on vacation. It's an experience. You happen to get married, maybe. It's an experience. You have your first child. It's an experience. It's these experiences that actually shape us into who we become. And so to think about that, everything I listed is like a personal experience. I want you to think about how many, and hopefully there are some, great business professional experiences that you have had in your life, and understanding that inbound could be one of the most magnificent experiences that inbound is. Inbound is the human side of HubSpot, and the experiences that you could create while you're there will dramatically change not only your business, but yourself. And again, we're going to get into those magic moments in the hallway, and I'm going to tell you a story about Doug Davidoff and George B. Thomas at Inbound. Man, I'm just telling you, like, it's about the freaking experience. It's not just
George,
about the education.
Wait.
Yes. Can you get educated? Yes. That's part of it.
George, why don't you just go ahead and tell the story?
Yeah, we're here now.
Let's do it.
Stop teasing me, buddy.
No, because... Stop it. Stop teasing me. Stop lording. I want to know what the magic in the hallways is. That is why I'm here. Honestly, it's the only reason I showed up today is I want to know what that means.
And you got to give space for this, right? So don't, when I said spreadsheet earlier, don't fill it full. Leave some room in it. Okay? Because when you can sit at the Westin and have conversations, which, by the way, I could literally go into the time where we were sitting at the Westin and Brian Halligan came and sat down right next to us and just started having a conversation like we were best buds.
I sat next to him once.
So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I'm going to kid you not. I sat outside of the Starbucks. And it was myself, it was Doug Davidoff, I think maybe Remington Begg, and maybe Doug's son was there. And we were talking about, like, just some straight up stuff. And I won't say what Doug said on the podcast, but Doug had one of those moments where he said something to me. And it went in my brain, and it ripped out wires and plugged them in different places. And all of a sudden, I was like, I was melting, and everybody sitting there could tell that I was mentally melting, but in all the best ways. All the best ways. The only thing that I can closely equate it to, Liz, so that you'll know, and so at some point we'll probably have to tell the same story or a different story, is when you and I were going through our voice tone workshop and you said to me, what would it be like if you showed up at like a whole ass human? And that for me was a moment in time. It was an experience that I knew for like moving forward, I was going to be a different dude. If I wouldn't have been at Inbound, if I would have been sitting around with Doug Davidoff, if I would have opened myself to the magical moment of him being able to put into me the words that he said, who knows where we'd be. And that's the thing. There's somebody you're going to meet at Inbound that's going to say something that they weren't a breakout. They weren't a main stage. They paid for a ticket just like you. And you're going to take it back and be like, that was the frickin' gem right there.
You know, George, you have literally made up for everything that you did as the Chaos King in last week's episode by saying the whole ass human.
It was. And I just want everybody to know that I made it through that entire spiel And I didn't say
networking one time.
But now I want to talk about networking, guys. I want to actually talk about it because there are my favorite part is you know how there was that joke, winter is coming? We are about to have the onslaught of 8,000 thought leadership pieces about how to survive networking, as if it's some sort of demon spawn. Networking is just being with other people who have like-minded interests, and maybe, just maybe, you can help each other. I don't think that's a bad thing, and I would love to talk about it. Devin, you and I can hide somewhere in Club Inbound after security has failed to find either of us.
Well, the thing is for me, and most people who know me know this, but those of you who are listening might be new to me. Hi, I'm Devin, and I have social anxiety issues. I went to a conference in Wisconsin, and these are people that I know. And I have a stress meter on my watch, and it was maxed out the entire time. And I was even talking to one of the conference organizers, and he was like, "How are you feeling?" I was like, "Well, I'm better now, but check this out." And I showed him the graph on my phone that shows what my stress levels are like through the day. And during the networking portions, it was completely maxed out. Like it was 100%. You are about to have a heart attack because you are completely stressed out. And the thing is that I don't like meeting new people. I don't like talking to people, which kind of sucks because I'm fairly well known at Inbound and people always want to talk to me. But the thing is that what gets me out of my shell there is that I know it's unlikely that there will be any other time of the year where I'm going to be surrounded by people who do what I do, love the things that I love, and can have conversations on and be passionate about the same problems that I'm facing. And there are so many opportunities for networking, be they in the hallway at a networking event, or if you don't have it, you can start your own, which is one of the things that I'm known for, was starting Black at Inbound, which is just a networking opportunity for all the Black professionals that are there to come together and talk. And it started from 13 people, and now there's hundreds, and it has its own team of people that manage it. And it all started with the need for a conversation. And so when it comes to talking and introducing yourself and all that stuff, for me, it's terrifying every day of the year, with the exception of when I'm at Inbound. When I'm at Inbound, it's literally the only time that I'm an extrovert. It's the only time I feel comfortable in my skin, because I know that these are my people. It's like if you've ever been to a comic book convention, do you feel shy at comic book conventions? No, because you're surrounded by a bunch of nerds who nerd out the same way you nerd out, and you just gotta find the flavor of nerd that nerds out about the same things you nerd out about. It's literally the exact same thing at Inbound, only people smell better. So what you should do is find people and just talk about whatever it is that you're excited about when it comes to marketing, and say, you're gonna find that all these people are like, yeah, I know. And then you start vibing and telling stories and saying things like conversion path metrics, and I don't know how to define my KPIs when we're talking about social media. And everyone around you will be like, nerds, but you'll be like, no, we're the cool ones, because you're at Inbound.
Oh.
It's like the Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Yeah.
And completely unhinged.
Yep.
I love that so much. It's interesting because I wish people wouldn't look at it as networking. Because Devin, you said something in there. You're like, conversations. That's all you're doing. You're just gonna go have some conversations. I feel like sometimes people who say I'm gonna go network, they have a hidden freaking agenda. And network actually means I'm gonna go subtly sell some stuff. No. Just go have some conversations. Just meet people. Just listen. Just be human. And if there happens to be a reason for there to be a need to have another conversation, a need to assist them with your product and service, well, great. Serendipity, whee! But to go in and be like, I'm going to go do some networking and be a networking robot. Have you been keeping count? Anybody doing shots? Then you're doing...
I just know that I already won my bet, so yeah, go ahead.
I'm obliterated.
Then you know that you're going about it, dare I say, without getting hate mail, the wrong way.
So wait, okay. You might have just subtly dropped a nice little hot take there, because I think we all know companies, agencies that go there, and it's like, yeah, you can totally go learn, employees. but you have a sales quota you have to make while you're here. And they aren't necessarily sponsors either. So I'm not talking about people who are on the floor, right? I'm talking about like
if you're on the floor, you got a job to do. First of all, if you're on the floor, you got a job to do. Hopefully there's a nice rotation. Hopefully everybody's getting what they need. All that good stuff. That I wouldn't slight anybody for spending $30,000-$50,000 and saying, let's go to work. Right? Yeah.
That's called sell.
But if like we're going incognito, like, hey, let's go do some educating. By the way, here's brand new business cards. Here's your script that you're going to say to everybody that no.
I am probably going to try to sell some hats.
I mean, my plan is I'm just going to be giving pins away. So let's
talk about this.
I'm just going to give pins away the entire time, just so everybody knows. That's all I'm going to say.
I apparently am just going to be running from security the whole time between the Westin and Club Inbound.
You won't screaming in the middle of a floor with a bullhorn.
I won't. And I'm 6 feet tall. Like, I'm not exactly subtle, so this is going to be a real good time. It's going to be like the easiest game of Where's Waldo. But speaking of Where's Waldo, terrible segue. The last thing I really want to get into today is something that, quite frankly, it's part of the title. It's why we're here today, kids. What are the differences between planning to go as an individual versus planning to go as a team? Whether that's the do's, the don'ts, the mistakes, the strategic thing, the strategery, right?
So,
George, you pointed at the screen, but Devin, you sound like you're ready to drop a knowledge bomb there.
I am so ready. All the bombs. Okay. So, first, you're going there as an individual. Only spend 50% of your breakout sessions on things that are relevant to your job. Spend 25% on things that are relevant to your life. And spend 25% on things that have absolutely nothing to do with your job. Things that are completely outside of your job function. If you're a marketer, go to a sales thing. If you're a salesperson, go to a marketing thing. Go to leadership things. Even if you're an individual contributor, do things that are going to take you outside of your box, outside of your comfort zone. Because even if they don't directly enrich you personally, what they will make you do is communicate with people who are in those and help you understand the struggles that they're going with, and it'll expand your mental horizons. And if you're going with a team, don't clump up. I cringe every time I see a clump of t-shirts from the same tech company. It's like you're doing it wrong. Everybody split up, take notes, share together after inbound. You don't even have to do it at the end of the night. You can split up and basically just go and absorb as much knowledge as possible. And then when you get home, then you can do a team-wide debrief on, hey, here are some of the things we learned. You can have Google Docs where you're actually taking notes in a one area and everyone can see what everyone else is learning about. And you can ask questions about the other person who's in the other session if you happen to not be in them and see something and it's like, hey, I have more questions about this. You can give minor presentations back at the office about some of the things you've learned. What you don't want to do is be all clumped up with your buddies, people who you see all day, every day, all year. Split up, go experience new things apart, and then bring those experiences together so you can benefit as a whole instead of, like, you might as well just gone by your damn self if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I love this so much because divide and conquer. I agree with you. You know what gives me anxiety? When I see like 50 pink shirts walking down the hall together and I feel like I'm just going to get run over because like, but here's the thing too, I'll say I love the idea of a morning or an evening hashtag one thing. Like, what's your one thing from today? Just share it around with the group real quick. Okay, let's break, let's go. The other thing that we have historically done, and I believe this was at Impulse Creative with Remington Begg and that team, is we'd have an inbound Slack channel where we could dump little quick quips of things that we wanted to make sure we talked about when we got back. So there was like a running thread of information. What's fun about that, it was a running thread not only for those of us who attended, but people who actually weren't there that then could ask like additional questions if there was something that popped up, interest them, and then we knew we could have conversations when we got back. So I love all of what you said, Devin, around that. Here's the thing, because we're talking about teams, right? Teams. I've seen the exact opposite. The exact opposite. Get to inbound, and you don't see them jokers the entire time. What is that? Why are we running away from everybody when we land and not taking the time to actually have a dinner together or, brain dump together and then sure, I agree with the divide and conquer, but please do me a favor and don't go on the polar opposite end. Find a middle ground of what Devin and I are talking about right now, because sometimes I get a little sketched out. Hey, has anybody seen Jackie the last 4 days? Or is Jackie checking out that place, the Paul Revere thing and the duck tour?
Everybody just needs to get a WhatsApp and make sure you're checking in with
That's
people.
what I'm saying. You can text each other or Slack each other. I mean, and my way works especially if you hate your coworkers. But yeah, doing the networking thing and brain dumping and connecting. I mean, you can treat it as also your company retreat. I literally went to Inbound for my honeymoon. That's how much of a geek that I am.
There we go. Hey,
yeah, but we're getting a divorce, so who cares? But
anyway, different episode. Yeah.
But your marriage with Inbound is forever.
There you go.
So
absolutely.
Look at that.
Max, before you go, I do have to throw something out there. Small disclaimer: if your name is Jackie, I was not talking about you. Okay, there we go. I was just pulling a name randomly out of the ethos. I love all Jackies in the world. So
the ether.
But at the same time, Jackie, you know who you are. You know who you are. All right.
Can't control the weather, Jackie. I'm sorry. Go
ahead.
All
right.
Stay out of the penguin pit at the aquarium. Anyway. So
wait, there's a penguin pit?
There's a penguin pit.
Hold on.
No, swear to God.
Forget Inbound. All penguins all the time.
All right, one story from when I was a kid. We definitely went to is it New England Aquarium, Boston Aquarium? I can't remember. We definitely went there when I was in middle school, and 100%, I swear on everything I love, that when we were on the ride back in the bus, a kid pulled out a penguin from his backpack. I don't know how he got it. But apparently he jumped down into one of the little service. I don't know, penguin sized. But it was a penguin in a backpack. So
I'm sorry, did you just say penguin sized?
So if you're going to Boston and you're looking for a souvenir, I mean, the penguins are there.
Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna kind of say divide and conquer as well. George, you kind of stole the only thing I had to say about this, but. Yeah, hey,
George.
Remember, listen, there's a lot to do in the city, right? There's plenty of donkeys you could go on coffee runs to as well. So make sure you get some time outside, spend some time with your coworkers that may not be that easy to spend time with when you're all working remotely and not in the same place, right? I'd say use it as a great team bonding activity, right? I mean, especially in the world when we're no longer in the office anymore, there are rare moments where we actually get to come and work together and be around each other. So I'd say this year is probably a really great time to take advantage of that. And sure, you'll get some work done as well. But yeah, divide and conquer. If you can grab someone from another department where maybe you're having issues working together or solving a problem between departments. If you're a sales director, why don't you take your marketing director and go to a session that helps solve problems between sales and marketing alignment, right? Get really tactical for what you choose to go to and who you choose to go to it with, because there's probably plenty of problems between the way that you work with your coworkers or between departments that could be solved by going and seeing a new perspective together and then having a chat about it when it's fresh in your mind and taking those learnings back once Inbound is over. So, just think about what you go to and who you go together with, right? And just make sure there's something that you guys can get out of it together.
I love that. Hey, Max, quick question, because you got me thinking about penguins. What do you call a happy penguin?
Oh no.
A penguin.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Hey, do you know how to? Do you know how?
Penguin.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
One more. Do you know how to get in touch with a penguin? You just give him a little wing.
Oh. I was going to say you put him in your backpack.
I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry for everything.
Noah's our producer.
Off the rails.
I'm sorry for everyone.
Off the rails.
Just when I think recording on Friday afternoons when everybody's clearly totally fine and totally, we're doing great. All right. And on that note, I don't even have a poem.
Oh my gosh.
That's what's happened.
Victorious.
I know. I will ruin your lives. I will ruin your. Oh, that was dumb. You should. That was dumb. And you should feel dumb, and you should feel bad. I'm so excited to record with you next week, George.
I'm in trouble.
It's going to be So much fun. And on that note, I do have one last question to take us out then, since George has sucked the life out of me as a poet. What is the one thing you feel like everybody should be talking about inbound right now that they aren't?
For me, it's the learning opportunities. Like, I am the marketer I am today, largely in part because of what I've learned at Inbound. I've talked about this specific breakout session numerous times, but Christopher Penn, Building the Data-Driven Customer Journey, Inbound 2016, changed the way that I do marketing, changed the way I report on marketing. I literally just in Wisconsin was teaching on a lot of the concepts that were introduced to me during his session. And there are so many opportunities, like just things that are just revelatory and groundbreaking in the breakout sessions, and we don't talk about them enough. There is just so many different ways for you to become a better professional and a better human being. But like, Derek Jeter, Reese Witherspoon, yay! That's all well and good. But it's like continuing education. You got to do it.
All right. So for me, I was a little confused, to be honest. I put a post out a couple days ago about a thing that talked about going to Inbound in person or virtually, to which then somebody threw back, it's only in person. There's no virtual portion of it this year, which I was like, oh, wow, I missed the memo. I want to actually say, though, if you go, and this is why I'm talking about it, because I don't know if enough people are talking about it, because if all of a sudden there's like this cyclone of like it's only in person happening, wherever that's coming from. If you go to inbound.com / which, by the way, check out this word after the diatribe that I went on, experience, and you scroll down the page, you'll literally see a big block that says live stream. Watch Inbound 2023 live via YouTube in September. We understand that not all attendees can make the trip to Boston, which is why we're excited to bring attendees a front row seat to main stage spotlight and what's next speakers and programming live through HubSpot's YouTube channel. Our 3-day live stream will feature over 20 plus sessions, English, closed captioning, and ASL interpretation. Sounds kind of virtual to me. I'm just going to throw that out. Like, at least you're going to be able to get to some of it, not all of it. So I want people who are like sitting here going through, here's my ultimate success plan, and I've tried to get my boss to let me go, and maybe it falls just a slight bit flat. Not all is lost. Check out the YouTube channel.
Max, Bobby, talk to me.
Maybe this is like we say, what are people talking about that they're not talking about or that they should be talking about? Maybe not along the lines of like public discourse, but I think maybe internally, like at your company with your peers, right? I think a lot of the conversations are probably talking about, oh, so excited, can't wait to go. And less of the conversations are on, why are we going? What are we going to do? What are we looking to get out of it? And like really thinking tactically about it. So if you haven't like sat down with your coworkers who are going to this thing, like take the time to put together like a game plan and like plan ahead. Like all the speakers in the sessions are on the website right now. There's no reason why you guys can't start chatting through it, coming up with a game plan instead of doing it last minute when you're on the plane flight there, right? So start talking about it now, come up with a game plan, go crush it, have a good time, go steal a penguin, get a large French vanilla iced coffee, regular. All the things.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And I'll leave it with this. The one thing I wish more people were talking about with Inbound is I wish people who are going, who have gone in the past, if you are around people who maybe aren't bought into it, maybe are new or whatever, I don't know if you, maybe this is making the assumption that a lot of people are like me. Whenever I go to Inbound, it's not that I've forgotten why I do what I do or why I'm part of this community. It is that boost. It is the most epic intersection of professional development, fun, excitement, and like dopamine and like all of the feel-good chemicals about why I am doing this work in this community and not going somewhere else. It's that thing we always talk about, right? Like, what's the reason you showed up and what's the reason you stayed? Whether that's in a company, a friend group, a network, whatever it is that we're talking about. And so the one thing I would really encourage you to do is that if you are someone who feels like me and what I'm saying to you resonates with you, tell that to other people. Don't be shy. Don't assume people won't listen. Maybe not everyone will listen to you. Maybe a few people will be like, yeah, you know what? HubSpot sold out and now they have Reese Witherspoon. Like, but there's going to be someone who's going to hear you and it will change their life because they will listen and they will go and they will thank you, except they won't thank Max because they will be in prison for stealing a penguin. And on that note, gentlemen.
Hold up. No. I want to give one last networking tip. Okay.
Did you not hear the part of the question where I said one
networking tip.
You know, go ahead.
Why did the two networking penguins jump when they first met?
No.
Because they were trying to break the ice. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah!
Okay, Hub Heroes, we've reached the end of another episode. Will Lord Lack continue to loom over the community, or will we be able to defeat him in the next episode of the Hub Heroes podcast? Make sure you tune in and find out in the next episode. Make sure you head over to thehubheroes.com to get the latest episodes and become part of the League of Heroes. FYI, if you're part of the League of Heroes, you'll get the show notes right in your inbox, and they come with some hidden power-up potential as well. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, leave a review if you like what you're listening to, and use the hashtag HubHeroesPodcast on any of the socials and let us know what strategy conversation you'd like to listen into next. Until next time, when we meet and combine our forces, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble human, and of course, always be looking for a way to be someone's hero.